Most men have been sold a lie. A toxic myth that says the only way to win a woman's attention is to chase her, impress her, and constantly prove your worth. But here's the truth most guys don't realize. The men women actually put on a pedestal are not the ones doing the chasing. They are the ones who know how to flip the dynamic and make her invest her time, her wonder, and her chase. And when you understand how this works, the entire game changes in your favor. Think about it. Why is it that the guy who bends over backward, answers every call instantly, showers her with compliments, and tries to be perfect, often gets ignored? Meanwhile, the guy who seems a little harder to reach, more focused on himself, and less desperate for her approval, is the one she obsesses over. It's because women are wired to value what isn't handed to them easily. When you make yourself too available, you kill the mystery, the challenge, and the attraction. This video is not about manipulation or playing childish games. It's about positioning yourself as the kind of man who naturally attracts pursuit. A man who doesn't have to beg for attention because he truly understands his value. And once you know these essential shifts, you'll stop being the one chasing women. Instead, you'll notice they'll be the ones trying to keep up with you. Welcome to the channel. If you're tired of being the guy who over-invests and ends up overlooked, you're in the right place. Pay close attention, because the truth is, women won't admit this openly. We only respond to men who make us work for it. Let's make you the prize. The 7 shifts that flip the dynamic. We've established the foundation. The old advice is a lie. Chasing women doesn't work because it communicates low value. Now, let's dissect the 7 strategic shifts. The subtle changes in your attitude and actions that position you as the prize, compelling her to invest her energy and her chase. 1. Don't be too available. The scarcity principle. One of the quickest ways to kill a woman's curiosity is by being available all the time. Men often think that if they're always there, always ready, and always responding instantly, it'll make a woman feel secure. But that's not how attraction works. Attraction is built in the unknown, in the little gaps that make her think about you when you're not around. If you're always answering texts within seconds, always free to hang out at her convenience, and always rearranging your life just to fit into hers, she won't feel the need to chase. She knows you'll be there, regardless of how much effort she puts in. That predictability makes her comfortable, but it also makes you less exciting in her mind. You're essentially teaching her that your attention is guaranteed and therefore cheap. Think about luxury items. Their value is tied directly to their scarcity. If you're available 24/7, you've removed all scarcity, and your perceived value drops to 0. When you show her that your life doesn't revolve around her, she starts to notice. If you take your time to respond sometimes, not as a game, but because you're genuinely focused on your own goals and responsibilities, she sees a man of purpose. You're letting her see that you won't drop everything for her, and she starts to value your presence more. It's not about ignoring her or being rude, it's about balance. Give her your energy and attention when you're present, but don't hand over your entire schedule. Let her wonder what you're doing when you're not texting back. That little bit of space is often enough to spark her curiosity. And once curiosity kicks in, the chase begins. 2. Build emotional intrigue. The discovery process. Most men focus only on the surface, level things when trying to attract women: looks, money, or status. While those things can help open the door, they're not what truly make a woman chase. What makes her invest is emotional intrigue. The feeling that there's more to you than what she's already seen. Women are drawn to men who don't reveal everything up front. If she feels like she's figured you out in the first couple of conversations, she has no reason to dig deeper. The mistake men make is trying too hard to impress with facts or achievements. They treat the interaction like a job interview, pitching their resume of accomplishments. That doesn't create intrigue, it creates boredom. When you overshare about your success or your struggles too quickly, you eliminate the challenge of discovery. You essentially deliver the final puzzle, giving her nothing left to assemble. Show her layers. Reveal your passions, your unique interests, your experiences, and even strong opinions that make her think. Emotional intrigue comes from the way you carry yourself. Maybe you don't overshare about your life too quickly. Maybe you give her a little taste of your personality, but hold back enough that she has to ask questions. Maybe you surprise her with a perspective she didn't expect from you. All of this makes her lean in because she's curious. What actually works is letting her feel like she's discovering you piece by piece. That discovery process is what makes her put in effort. Because the more effort she invests, the more she values you. If you can create intrigue in the way you speak, and the way you reveal who you are, you'll notice women start chasing your attention, not because you asked for it, but because they need to know more. 3. Show confidence through your lifestyle, the quiet power. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking they can talk their way into attraction. They think if they say the right lines, compliment her enough, or explain how confident they are, she'll just fall in line and chase. Here's the reality. Women don't believe words the way they believe actions. You can tell a woman you're ambitious, but if your daily life shows laziness and lack of drive, she won't respect it. You can tell her you're confident, but if you fold the second she tests you, that image collapses. The truth is, the way you live is what communicates your value far louder than anything you could say. A guy who constantly tells a woman about his money or his goals is usually overcompensating. She sees through that performance instantly. Confidence isn't just standing tall or making eye contact. It's being rooted in your direction as a man. When a woman sees that you've got something truly going on outside of her, your career, your health, your hobbies, your network, she feels like she has to earn a spot in that life. That's when she starts chasing. A man who is busy building, creating, and moving forward isn't available to sit around waiting for her texts, and that unavailability is magnetic. Women want access to men who are scarce, who aren't just sitting around looking for validation. It's about having a life that naturally demands your attention. The man who lives it quietly but consistently, that's the guy who draws her in. She notices when you're improving, when you're focused. That's how pedestal energy is built. We're halfway through the shifts. If this has clarified why your previous efforts failed, take a moment now. The only way to stop those old patterns is through awareness and action. Hit the like button now to signal that you value self-improvement, and subscribe to the Stoic Manhood Guide. Don't let this be just another video. Let it be the turning point where you choose to become the prize. Let's keep building. 4. Pull back just enough to create curiosity. The magnetism of distance. Attraction dies the moment a woman feels like she has you completely figured out. If she knows exactly when you'll text, what you'll say, and how available you'll be, there's no mystery left. And without mystery, there's no chase. This doesn't mean you have to play childish games or disappear for days to prove a point. That's just inconsistent. The flaw is in teaching her that she doesn't have to work for your attention. When you're always quick to respond, always ready to cancel your plans, just because she asks, you're teaching her that your time is infinitely replaceable. And what people don't work for, they don't value. What I'm talking about is creating just enough space for her to wonder about you. Curiosity is one of the strongest forces that drives women to invest more into a man. When she senses that your attention isn't guaranteed, that it has to be earned, she values it more. The easiest way to create this is through non-instant responses and strong boundaries. Don't constantly try to fill the silence with long messages or desperate attempts to keep the conversation alive. Instead, let her feel those small gaps where she starts to think. What's he up to? Why hasn't he texted yet? That small question in her mind builds more attraction than 1,000 compliments ever will. Women naturally chase what feels just out of reach. 5. Use subtle flirtation to spark the chase, the dance of tension. Here's something a lot of men don't realize: women actually love to chase, but only when there's a spark to chase after. If you're too flat, too serious, or too neutral in your interactions, she has no reason to put energy into you. Subtle flirtation is what gives her that energy. The mistake men make is falling into one of two extremes. the overly complimentary guy, dropping heavy compliments every 2 seconds and treating her like a fragile goddess. This lacks tension and creates a pedestal dynamic where you are below her. The 2, safe coworker, treating her like a casual acquaintance, afraid to risk being flirty at all. This lacks any emotional heat. Subtle flirtation isn't about being corny or over the top. It's about those small, confident hints that make her wonder if you see her as more than just another person in the room. You throw in a playful comment. You tease her lightly, not in a cruel way, but in a way that shows confidence and humor. She laughs, she pushes back, and suddenly the interaction isn't just a conversation, it's a little dance. That playful tension is what makes her want more. When you flirt in a subtle, confident way, you separate yourself from every other guy. You land right in the sweet spot where she's intrigued and curious. When you create that spark, women can't help but replay the interaction in their heads. She'll go home thinking about the way you smirked or how you didn't fold when she teased you back. That's what pulls her in. That's what makes her text you first or try to put herself in your path again. 6. Pull back at the right moments. The recalibration. Women don't chase consistency, they chase unpredictability. And I mean that in the healthiest, most stimulating sense. If she feels like she has you locked in too soon, she stops putting in effort. But if she feels like she could lose your attention, she starts chasing. The trap most men fall into is they overcompensate. They think the way to keep a girl's interest is to keep showing up, keep proving themselves, and keep reminding her how much they like her. But women actually feel more drawn when you stop feeding them constant attention. Pulling back at the right moments is one of the most effective ways to trigger this. Let's say you've been giving her energy texting, talking, engaging. She's enjoying it. She feels good about it. Now, instead of keeping that same constant pace, you slow down. You don't disappear completely, but you let her feel the space. This creates a mild sense of loss. It makes her question the security of the connection. It reminds her that your attention is a privilege, not a right. That little bit of distance makes her wonder, what's he up to? Why isn't he giving me all the attention he was before? If she likes you even a little, pulling back makes her want to close that gap herself. This is why timing matters. If you pull back too early, she won't care. But if you do it after you've already given her enough to feel your presence, she'll feel the shift instantly. And that's when the chase begins in earnest. 7. Be the man she doesn't want to lose. The inner gamey. At the end of the day, the real way to make a woman chase you isn't about tricks, tactics, or clever games. It's about becoming the kind of man she looks at and thinks, if I don't put effort into him, I'll regret it. That's the mindset that makes a woman chase. Here's the truth a lot of men don't want to face. Too many of you are chasing women without doing the work on yourselves first. You expect her to see you as valuable, but you don't always carry yourself like a man of value. That's the gap. Women are wired to put effort into men who stand out, not just with looks, but with purpose, drive, and energy. If you're stagnant, overly available, or constantly bending for her attention, she'll pull back. Are you working on your goals? Do you have standards? Do you show leadership in your own life? When she sees that you respect yourself, she naturally feels the urge to respect you too. Being the man she doesn't want to lose isn't about arrogance. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes her realize, if I don't chase him, another woman will. That quiet confidence changes everything. The balance is key. She feels your interest, but she also feels that you won't tolerate disrespect or laziness from her. You give her warmth, but you don't smother her. You show effort, but you also expect it back. When you hit that balance, she starts putting you higher in her mind. She invests more. She prioritizes you. And yes, she chases because she doesn't want to lose a man who values himself. So, here's the ultimate challenge. Stop thinking about how to get her attention and start focusing on how to keep building yourself. That's what truly flips the roles. When she realizes you're the type of man who keeps growing, who doesn't need her validation, and who won't waste his time on someone who isn't giving energy back, she'll chase you. not because you forced her, but because she knows you're worth it. Here's the thing most men never realize. Women don't naturally put men on a pedestal just because they like them. They only do it when they feel that the man deserves it. And that feeling doesn't come from how much you chase her. It comes from how much she feels she has to chase you. Think about it. A man who constantly gives, constantly pursues, constantly proves himself, he becomes predictable. But a man who values his time, who shows confidence, who has his own life, and who knows when to pull back, he becomes a challenge. And women are wired to chase challenges they don't want to lose. This is a controversial truth, but you need to hear it. If a woman never has to chase you, she'll eventually stop appreciating you, because effort is what builds value in her mind. The more she invests, the higher she places you in her life. So, if you want a girl to chase you, stop focusing on how to win her over. Start focusing on how to live in a way that makes her feel she needs to earn a place with you. That's the shift that puts you on the pedestal in her eyes. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these shifts do you need to apply starting today? Let me know in the comments below. If this video finally gave you clarity on where you've been going wrong, hit the like button now. Share this truth with a man who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Stoic Manhood Guide. Don't miss out on the knowledge that truly flips the dynamic.